Hey folks, this is Brian with my RQG game review, session review, campaign diary kind of thing. Normally I play every other Friday because on alternating weekends I'm playing in a Saturday game, and being able to do gaming stuff both nights of the weekend does not sit well with the wife. So this is the mechanism I've worked out. But it turns out that 3 of my players were going to a game convention on the weekend of the 13th, which is when our next scheduled game was. So yeah, that's too many people gone to play. So for a one-time kind of deal, I got approved to go ahead and run my game on a Friday, the same weekend that I play in the game on Saturday. So last Friday we got to play. And man, I'm getting too old for this. Late nights on Friday and late night on Saturday, and then daylight savings springing forward on Sunday was not a good weekend for me. But anyway, so we played, and again it was another slog fest. Again, we had technical difficulties to start off with, so we started a little late, but we ran pretty late. It turned out to be uh, 3.5, 3:45 maybe hours, long. Um, and we're still not out of the combat. We've been in for the last 3 game sessions. Um, let's see, they've been picking them down, um, but behind the current shield wall of fighters, guards, whatever you want to call them, are some tough guys. There are 2 priests and 2 rune level fighters. I wouldn't really call them rune lords necessarily, because they're death cultists, and we don't have any data on death cultists for the new Runequest. So I'm pulling the old RQ, the 2? Must have been 2. Information out and trying to just massage it myself. But anyway, so the party is in this temple area. So it's a vaulted, barrel vaulted place where they are. But then the bad guys are coming down out of a cavern, out of a tunnel. Now, has it been shaped and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, but it's not like they carved this thing 10 foot by 10 foot. I mean, it's 3 to 4 feet wide, and 6, maybe 7 feet high. So not a whole lot of room, and that got to be not a contentious issue, but an issue for me not having presented the spacing accurately for one of the players. And he was looking at the guys back down the hallway, want to throw a javelin at him. I'm going, well, you're throwing javelins, firing into a melee, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys here, 2 of which are yours, and that kind of thing. And he seemed to be a little frustrated with that, but c'est la vie. But anyway, so there was this rule kind of rulings and rules kind of discussions going on with what's happening. And the character was an Isseries noble, I believe, or maybe merchant. Must have been a merchant. And so he doesn't have a lot of armor, and he's not really great with weapons. So he's trying to keep himself alive. But he ended up taking out 2 more of the fighter guys, and the Beast of Gore went down twice. She's currently being straddled by one of the bad guys. And so they did some shifting to get in there, and that's when the priests actually got in. They moved forward in between a series of critical or special attacks on the party's part versus failed, or in one case a fumbled defense on the bad guy's part. it looked like the tide had turned, and they had put the priestess down, and one of the fighter guys has just a couple of hit points left, which gets to a hit point issue discussion. I know in the rules it's like you go unconscious when you have 1 or 2 hit points, and I've played other games with it the same sort of way, but that just does not make sense to me. If you've got positive hit points, you're good to go. So there's, but if you go negative your hit points in RQG, if you don't get to them within that melee round, they're dead. And that seems a bit harsh. And I had been working with a mechanic I was using where you can go negative your healing rate before you die, or you get your healing rate worth of melee rounds before you die. And to me, that started to feel pretty narrow. So now I'm thinking 0 to negative healing rate, you're just unconscious. The guys you find on the battleground, after the battle's over, that everybody thought was dead, but no, they're just unconscious. That's that category. Now, admittedly, it's just usually is a couple points. I mean, the toughest guy we have is a healing rate of 4, and he did in fact go -4. So that's kind of one of the reasons I was thinking, oh, maybe we do this, because that player wasn't there. I don't want to kill off a character when the player's not there to actually defend himself. And so that kind of fits with my new scheme anyway. 0 to negative healing rate is just unconscious. Get back to the fight. There were 2 darkness elementals. The one wasn't controlled, so he's just kind of sitting there. Should I have had him skirted away from the light? Probably. But the light was just a torch or a lantern, so a darkness elemental, even a small one, should be able to put that out. So he's just kind of sitting there. The other one was controlled, and okay, go after that guy, go after that guy, go after that guy. But the third guy, first 2 actually made their saving throws, but the third guy ran, and so it followed him. And then he does these, loop-de-loop. He moves 8, it moves 6, and he's got enough with the coordination and the mobility to still get an attack in during that melee round. Now, I've heard people comment about a ruling or a rule about if you move more than half your movement, you can't attack. We have mechanics in play. For every movement point you use, that's 1 strike rank. Now, admittedly, if you move 8 strike ranks, that's 8 strike ranks on top of your weapon strike rank, but you only got 4, so generally you're not going to get an attack in. But these guys are moving fast, so they're able to do that. So I'm going to have to dig through my book to see if I can't find that. But to me, that just doesn't make sense. Why have a dual mechanic? Either you move to half your movement to still attack, or strike ranks for movement. It doesn't make sense to do both with an either or kind of deal situation. But anyway, so he's doing that. I did toughen up elementals. Technically, elementals can be damaged with normal weapons, but because small elementals have so few hit points, they're gone. I'm gone. What use is an elemental if you can kill him in 3 rounds or 3 strikes? So I treat him like Wraith. Magic hurts them, and so the magic is what does the damage. And it kind of makes sense because they're spirits and that kind of thing. So it made sense to me. The character who was actually fighting against had a blade sharp 2 on a broadsword, so only had 9 hit points. Took him 4 strikes to get him down, or 5 strikes to get down. But during that time frame, the spirit magic that they had cast at the first fight hit 25 melee rounds and went off. So that dropped off their coordination and their mobility and their shimmer, which was hanging on the protective circle. And then the blade sharp, but the guy he just recast the blade sharp with kind of matrix on the sword. But 7 melee rounds later, the same thing happened to the bad guys. So it kind of balanced out. But it was interesting how that kind of worked out. Okay, guys, spirit magic is gone now. They burned a handful of magic points doing different sorts of things. The Beast of Gore burned up her rune points doing, wasn't strength. some kind of axe thing does extra damage. I don't think she did. She may have done axe trance as well. It's not bash, but something like that for the extra damage, an extra d6 of damage. And the arrow trance gave her some pretty decent bonus on her to hit, so she was doing some pretty decent stuff going on. But I forgot what did her in, but she went down. And then the Mysteries merchant healed her and brought her back up, and then she got hit down again. Oh, so the party's got 2 PCs are up, and I've got 3 NPCs plus another one's back around the corner. That particular one has a gauge where he cannot, he can only fight enemies with magic, and he cannot be in any kind of non-magical light, because this cult has magic light so they can see in the dark, which is what they have. That's why they can see in the dark, because they got this magical light going, and nobody else can see it. But the party's got a torch out and a lantern now, so that light's coming down the hallway, so he's back around the corner. And he's waiting for some stuff, so he's going to cast some magic. And the only real magic he can do, besides the prep stuff they already did, is to summon a spirit guardian. And it's kind of like the summon ancestor kind of thing from the book. And so I pre-rolled. He could cast it up to 3 times with the rune points he has left. So I rolled 3 of them up. And the first one was wimpy, but it was malign. So when he cast it, it popped up and it ran back to attack him. So as we're going through combat, okay, that maybe the round's over, and I remember, oh shoot, I got to do some spirit magic stuff back here. see how that's going to work out. And the spirit actually kicked him up front pretty well. I was kind of surprised, but in the end, he just took care of it. So that's going on in the back. In the front, I've got these 2 real fighters. I mean, they got the large shields, and they've got percentages over 100 because of, you know, their inspiration and their magic and their skill levels. You know, that kind of stuff's going on. And so they're starting to kick butt when they finally got the normal fighters got all wiped out. They're all bleeding out except for one. There's one female fighter who is in fact dead. And there's a priest involved with the fight who's near that person. Had her make a couple of scan rolls to see if she notices that other NPC is dead, not just unconscious, bleeding out, you know, moaning, whatever. I may make that require a special, you know, during combat kind of thing, maybe. I'll think about that. But she hasn't figured it out yet. But once she does, she can raise zombies. So that's going to put a new twist into the fight. It did get bad enough that one of the PCs said, okay, we're going for TPK. Now it's going to happen. It just kind of became resolved to that effect. And I tried to pull in a couple of, because like I said early on, he got a critical attack on somebody, and they missed their defense, and they put the priest down, and so he wanted to intimidate them. So I had him roll intimidation, and you know, he was successful. But these are fanatics; they're death cultists, right? They're not afraid of dying. That's part of the plan for them, right? So I just had to be, you know, an effect, you know, delayed by 5 melee rounds, 5 strike ranks rather, 5 strike ranks, and if they're attacked, still attack during a round. But there's also an attempt to use runes, I think, to try to, you want to use this harmony rune to affect them. You know, to harmonize with them. You know, don't hurt us. It's okay. There's a great battle, big fight, but you know, we're done now, kind of thing. And while runes are magical, they're not magic. At least, you know, my Glorantha. And it's interesting because I've seen this play out in some of the online games. I think it was WebDM, where the players were trying to invoke runes just to have magical things happen. And you can certainly use runes with magical effects, inspiring yourself to do better on things, you know, that kind of stuff. But to just, you know, I'm going to invoke my harmony rune, we're all going to sing Kumbaya. Ain't going to happen. Sorry. I'm going to invoke my death room and I'm going to die. No, sorry, ain't going to happen. But about that point, it was getting late. And I want to say one of the players who had been handling one of the PCs whose player wasn't there, since that character went down, signed on off. The other one was stuck around for a while, but we're going along this mention about time. I looked down, it was after 12:30, so okay, is this a decent spot to stop? Yeah, sure, why not? So we're still in this massive fight that started 3 sessions ago, but we're well past 30 something melee rounds. Bad guys have one guy who's fairly unhurt, one who's just barely up, and then there's the priestess who she got hit in the abdomen but healed herself, so she's back up. But her shield is gone and her sword is almost broken, which gets me to another point. I know I mentioned this in one of the other game reviews. One, I can kind of see where Chaosium was going with this, shattering, damaging weapons and shields left and right and shattering them on occasion kind of stuff. Is it spectacular? Sure, of course it is. But what do you do once your shields are gone and your weapons are broken and you're in the middle of a troll forest? Maybe they shouldn't be able to be damaged that quickly or that severely. So that's something I'm going to look into. But for now, we'll do what we do. I mean, Subutai, one of the other players, he's unconscious. His broadsword broke, so we picked up one of the short swords. And, one-hand sword skill, right? But it's a different kind of weapon. It's got different balance. You're not used to it. It's not your own. Plus, it's shorter than the long blade, so you got to get range distance stuff and all that kind of thing. So I just have him, roll it half, and that's how I treat all this stuff initially. Eventually I get to the point where he's using his one-handed sword skill, so he's using his broadsword skill for his short sword eventually. Let's see. Bruce, the elementals, the priests, the real fighters. Because one of the players was really surprised when he got a special on a 26. What? What's his percentage? Well, it's over 120 something. I said, so these are real fighters, and they've got magic and other stuff, right? Just like everybody else does. You look at all the PC fighters are all at 90% plus on their main weapons, so hey, that's how things work out. It'll be kind of fun because I'll want to. Oh, one other thing they did. I had the players who engaged the priestess to make a scan roll, and the first one or two didn't make it, but the Issary's merchant made his scan roll, so he saw that she had 2 human heads hanging from her belt. And so he was thinking, okay, that's not good, and he wanted to attack one of those heads. It's okay, you want to do an aim shot. So we got real briefs because we all understand about aim shots. Strike rank 12, half percentage. He doesn't want to waste an attack doing that. He brought up a rule. I want to say it was a ruling, like a house rule kind of thing, where you could delay your attack by so many strike ranks that would modify your location die roll by that many points, so you get closer to hitting where you want to hit. I wasn't going to do that during the round. I don't really mind that idea, but I would tack onto it a subtraction to hit as well. So for every additional strike rank, you're at a minus 5%, and you get to correlate that over to hitting where you want to hit, so you can adjust the location. Kind of what I'm thinking. But I think that's about it. Shoot, we are almost at 20 minutes. I initially did this via YouTube Live and then delayed the publication, but it was supposed to have gone off like at 8:55 tonight, and it didn't. So I just deleted it, and we're doing an actual recording now. But I forgot why I did that. But there was a reason with my laptop and computers and stuff happening that I didn't have an actual camera to do the recording. Yeah, I was using my son's laptop for some reason, and his laptop does not have a camera software package. It's got a built-in webcam, and you can access it through different things, but it doesn't have like a camera program like this. Whatever. Happy gaming.